What's up, guys? Welcome, Crypto FUD. And we are jumping on a quick live because, as you can see on the thumbnail, or I don't know if I put it on the thumbnail, but I did put it in the actual context that we are making new highs. Milady just made a new high, and so did a couple other altcoins. So we're gonna cover it live here. Let's get everything set up. What's up, guys? Let's wait. We're gonna let a couple people join. Let me make sure my audio and everything is good. All right, so let's see here. So with Milady, all right, audio is looking good. All right, so with Milady particularly, welcome, guys, everybody. Like I was saying right before we just started, or before you got here, we're just basically having a quick live stream. A couple alts are making highs right now. Milady just had a crazy spike, something insane, honestly. We're gonna check this out. So last night, obviously, we had a nice stream. I thank you, so everybody that came in, joined. While we were in the stream, we did point out that there was a possible bear flag that was starting to form, and you could see right here. So we had the pole, we had the channel that it was falling in, and basically after a bear flag, not every time, but a lot of times, it'll play out towards the downside, and that's basically what happened, right? But you can see at one of these lines that I was saying last night that we definitely needed to hold was that 11 mark, and that's exactly where we bounced, right here at the 11 mark. And from there on, we've had a crazy parabolic green candle form pretty much right here that bounced us all the way up to a new local high. And that was something that I also pointed out last night, is that if we did, drop down towards that 11, it would be very bullish, because you want to exhaust the sellers. The sellers want to get, we want to see the sellers get exhausted. And pretty much what happens is a lot of times the buyers will take over. And that's exactly what happened. This green candle was a 40% green candle. Are you 40% off of just one green candle? Actually, let me backtrack. Hold on here. So from the bottom of where this green candle started to where this local high was, we were actually at 45%. A 45% move just off of that green candle alone. Now, obviously, we did have such a crazy parabolic run. So from there on, we did have a nice little cool off, and we formed two red candles following after this really giant green candle. And we pretty much are sitting at another pivotal spot that we were sitting last night. Remember last night? This was exactly where we were at when we started and ended the stream, was at about the 14.2, and that's pretty much where we're at exactly right now. So, Milady is basically, it's respecting these fib retracement lines, and more importantly, respecting these resistance and support lines that we are drawing. So everything is still looking perfectly great. The fact that we just made a local high. We haven't made that all-time high yet, right? This blue line, I saw a couple other people from last night, they were commenting after the fact that Milady made a higher high than what we're seeing right here. I'm just going off of my off of the trading view chart, and it's saying that we made a local or an all-time high of around the 19 mark. Now, I'm sure it probably was a very brief spike, most likely higher than where we're at right now, or where we see this, but we're going to take it from what we see as far as what the charts have. And the all-time high for trading view is going to be technically at this 19 mark, which is not far from where we're at right now. You can see easily that we are not far whatsoever. I believe we mapped it out last night on last night's stream. We are about 37% currently from where we're at right now exactly to that all-time high. Only about 37 to 40% away. So definitely manageable. If you were, like I was saying a little while ago, the green candle that formed alone just earlier from that bounce off this fib retracement at the 12 was 45% just in that green candle alone. So that's insane right there. That shows you the amount of volume that's coming into Milady and the exposure that Milady's getting currently right now. Milady's market cap sitting somewhere around $105 million. You can see off of this chart right here, this crazy spike all the way from, we basically bought them, like I said, right at that 11, and we spiked up all the way up towards the 16 and a half. So, you know, Milady's looking great. The market cap is building. The volume, $34 million. That's crazy. I didn't even realize. You see the percentage of the volume that's up? It's up 126%. That is telling me, and should be telling you as well, that hype, FOMO, is starting to really set in for Milady. People are talking about Milady. Things are looking great as far as Milady. Now, let's see here. Real quick, putting a pause on Milady. Another project that did just make a local high, ICP. ICP just made a new local high somewhere around $7.36. Very excited. You guys know, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe. Make sure you hit the like. If you're not new, then you already know I've been definitely holding on to ICP from these bottoms right here. And ICP is definitely just making new highs recently, just like how Milady's looking. So things are looking great. And not just for these two projects, but you know, you also have Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still holding strong at over 42,000. We are having a little bit of a reddish day today, and let's check out Bitcoin and see exactly what's going on, because you always want to monitor what Bitcoin's doing, right? You always want to monitor what Bitcoin's doing. So I have this drawn out. I was doing this on my own the other day. Looks like we have a bull flag that's forming. So I wouldn't be surprised at some point we're going to have some kind of a move towards the upside, you know, if things play out the way it should. But, you know, it doesn't always play out like that, right? So I'm thinking that we're most likely going to trade within this channel, and at some point we're going to have some kind of a nice move towards the upside. And how I'm basically figuring this out is I usually look, so we have a nice pole, we have this channel that's kind of moving towards the downside. That's usually a bull flag, and a lot of times you can kind of measure it from the bottom of the top of the channel right here, what the move could possibly do, right? Obviously things can happen, you know, that could move out of this kind of channel and stuff like that. So take it with a grain of salt. We're always just kind of looking at the charts and seeing what are the charts telling us. And for Milady, the charts are telling us that things are looking very bullish, very bullish. I wouldn't doubt right now that with, hold on here, let me see. I wouldn't doubt that with Milady, you know, we saw this new local high right here, and everybody that's just joining, welcome guys. I'm gonna I see the chat. I'm gonna answer your questions here in a second. I just wanted to point some things out real quick before we get into the chat. So for Milady, we did make this local high right here at the 17.1. Now, one thing I was gonna say is, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we're having, obviously, two things. This was considered, I would consider this a Giga pump. This pump right here that we saw, this green candle, this is probably the biggest green candle we've seen in this whole upward movement in the last couple weeks. It was a 45% pump from where we, remember last night, we drew this line and I said, this was a bear flag. Craig, I see you asking about a bull flag. So right here, remember last night in the stream, I called it, I said, I think we're forming some kind of a bear flag, and there's going to be usually a downside following behind it. Now, I said what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to hold this 11 mark. And that's exactly, if you see the red candle, we bounce right on that 11 mark. And then right after we basically dropped down to that 11 mark, the sellers were basically overran by the buyers, right? We needed that drop. Buyers took over. You saw this little green candle form, right? But then you saw this massive 45% candle just form right after it. And I would consider that a nice Giga pump, really, where it was just a, you know, massive inflow of money that flew in. A lot of people, what happened was they probably bought in right here, jumped up, and they were up 40-50%. And then they ended up selling off, but not all of them. But a lot of sells obviously took place. And also, Bitcoin right now is trying to hold 42,000. We're at 42,100. Bitcoin's, you know, down 2% today. So that's probably another thing it's also kind of trying to hold Milady down too, because believe it or not, Milady is kind of going in correlation with how the Bitcoin chart is going as well. So those are two things that I see as far as what's going on and why we made a real quick high real quick, and then we kind of are finding some sort of support where we were finding last night. Our support last night was around 14.2, and that's where we're pretty much at right now. We're at the 14 mark, trying to hold that pivotal spot. Now to go to the chat. Okay, so you're saying, is that a bull flag? Oh, okay, you just said it was. Yeah, okay. Let's see here. For Craig, what were you talking about for Bitcoin? Bull flag? That's what yeah, so that's what I'm calling right now, but you know, it could do anything, right? We did break out of this channel right here. Doesn't mean that we're not going to get right back into the channel, but this, the way it looks, as to be forming a nice bull flag. So we could see another leg up towards getting back to where we were, where we've pretty much been sitting for the last like week or two at around 44,000. Now, let's see here. Top of the day, just catching up 2 times, Jamie. All right, you're always on that 2 times, man. Now, no worries. I'm glad that you guys are all here. Let's see here. So, Craig, if Shiba got to 42 million last bull run, I have no doubt Milady can reach a couple $1 billion market cap. I completely agree. I think a couple $1 million would be a conservative prediction, right? I honestly think it would be a conservative prediction. I already said it before. It's like the number one question. What do I think Milady's going to do if we can continue this momentum, and if we get into a full-blown bull market where Bitcoin's up to $60,000? I think that Milady could possibly go anywhere from around 2 to maybe 6 or 8 billion dollars. And remember, I'm giving out a conservative prediction, right? I don't want to sit there and say it can get up to $50 billion, because that's just, it's not that it couldn't happen, but that would mean a lot of money coming in to Milady, right? Which would be nothing but a positive thing. But you know, you have to just, I always like to be realistic and, you know, and be conservative. Now, if it does happen, that's more power to us, right? But if it doesn't, and it does get into that channel of the $2 to $6 million, I feel a little bit better about myself, because that's, you know, what I'm kind of predicting as far as being a conservative investor, right? So, Scorpion, what's up, brother? How are you doing? Thank you so much for coming in. Let's see here. So Eduardo freaked out last night when it fell down to 11. But Eduardo, you were in here, and you need to go back to the stream from last night and remember what I was saying. I remember it very vaguely, or actually not. I remember it like it was just last night, right? We called last night that it was forming a bear flag, and I said that if this is gonna play out, we're probably gonna see a downside, and we need to hold that 11 mark. We need to hold that 11 mark. I said I wouldn't be surprised if we drop down to that 11 mark. It would be a dramatic drop to where the sellers will be overwhelmed and the buyers would come in, because you have a lot of people that are looking at these charts. A lot of people that are in these charts just sitting in the background, and they're waiting to buy in at good spots. They're waiting for a pullback, you know, and when you see this drop right here, which really wasn't nothing crazy, but it was a nice drop. We'll see from the top of this bear flag where we were at exactly. And if you come down to the 11, it was a 20% drop. So when someone's sitting on the side and they see that it's down 20%, that easily can bring in buyers, and that's what it did. We bounced at that 11. Like I said earlier, we made this small green candle, but followed by a 45% green candle, you know, and I was considering this probably a giga pump, where, you know, when you see these giga pumps, when they happen so fast and you have, you know, the green candle jump up 40-50%, people that just caught this spot right here at 11, imagine someone buying in short term, just caught it at 11, right? They're up at the top of this high that we just made, 56% within hours, right? 56% within hours. So they've already doubled their money. So a lot of people, it's going to cause what we're seeing right now is these red candles kind of a sell-off because it was such a massive green candle, such a massive influx of money coming in, buyers. Now the buyers are overwhelmed, and the sellers, they're probably switching over to sellers right now. But it's all right because we have long-term holders. This community is just building and building, and it doesn't matter. This local high again at the 17.1 was, that's great. We just continue. I mean, it's been daily now. I feel like every day we're just continuing to make new local highs. Even if this local high was very short-lived, it doesn't matter. It was a crazy local high. You saw this fast 46% move. You see how quick things can move. Now, like I said, a couple things that are playing against Milady right now for the short term was that we had this massive influx of buyers, right? Obviously, they got taken over because there was a quick 50% candle. The sellers came in, took over, but also on top of that, Bitcoin right now is, it's not down or anything like that, but it's having, one of those days where it's down $1,000. It's down 2.3%. If you can see down here in the bottom corner, it's down 2.3%. So it's having one of those days where, we're not having a massive sell-off, but it's just it's a down day, right? For right now, things can change very quickly. And, that's just how it works with crypto. If you were to zoom out of this whole chart, especially for Bitcoin, I mean, look at this chart. Oh man, I just moved one of my lines. Now I'm pissed. I always do that, but we'll get back to that. Because now I have to go back to the chart and find out where this spot of support or resistance was. But regardless, look at Bitcoin. Look at Bitcoin since it made that low. What was that? Back in December of 2022, so a year ago, we made lows. And look what it's just been doing since. But look at these massive dramatic drops that we have had, right? So it is what it is. It comes with the territory. But at the end of the day, we see where we're going. We see what's going on, and we're moving up and to the right. And that's what we want to see. I am, honestly, guys, I don't know if you guys play with charts, but I'm a little pissed right now that I moved that freaking line. I'm going to have to go back in the later on and watch this again and see where I moved this support line, because I don't know where the hell it came from. It was somewhere around here though, but I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out later. No big deal. So welcome, guys. I see we have some new people coming in. I hope everybody's having a great day. If you're, day off, if you're working maybe, and you can watch some YouTube while you're working and stuff like that. We're just mapping out the charts, looking at what's going on. Milady, again, we did make a local high just recently. Looks like it happened about an hour or two ago, where we topped up right here at the 17.1. And what I was pretty much saying was that this local high, I'm not going to say it was unnatural, but it was a one of the biggest moves that we've had. Look at as we've been moving up, right? Look how big this green candle is compared to any green candle. Look at that. That green candle was something that came out of, somebody made some really big buys. Someone made some really big buys. And like I said, I wouldn't doubt if it was a short-term buyer that came in, saw that 20% opportunity where we were down 20%, bought in, and they just made a quick 50%. And maybe they didn't sell completely off because we didn't drop back down all the way to the 11, but you do see these red candles. Maybe they sold half of their position or whatever the case may be, because that was just a crazy candle. And I like seeing candles like that, but at the same time, I don't really, whenever I see candles like that, it gets me nervous on the short term, because like I keep saying, people come in for quick gains. And when let's say you throw in $1,000 and you look at it an hour later and now it's at $2,000, a lot of people are going to sell because within an hour they just made $1,000, right? They're going to sell because they just doubled their profit. And that's what happens is those Giga pump candles create massive sell-offs because it's been such a crazy move. On top of you're going to have people taking profits, people that bought in anywhere down here. We just made a new local high. So it's going to cause some kind of a sell-off. But the main thing that we're trying to take in is, where are we going to have this support? Are we going to bounce again at that 11? Are we going to hold support right here at this fib retracement? Let's see, that's the 382. That's going to be at around the 12 mark. The 12 looks solid where we've consolidated multiple times. We've bounced multiple times. These grand candles are literally landing right on that 12. That could be a big spot for some solid support. So catching up on the chat. Let's see here. So, oh, okay. All right, Eduardo. I hear you. I listened. All right. So, Craig, I'm immune because last bull run I got into SHIB early, had huge gains staring at me, then rode it all the way down. Live and learn. I'm prepared for this time. You know, Craig, I have something so similar. Same thing pretty much happened with me with Shiba particularly. I got into Doge very early when it was around 2 to 3 cents and I was just buying in like crazy. But for Shiba, I bought in, and I mean like a month later, Shiba took off, right? I ended up catching it right before it started to take off. And I remember not putting much in, but I remember I was up 15x. I remember exactly. I was up 15x on my investment, and I was just like, wow, and I just held on to it, and I rode it not all the way down, but I rode it and sold it for, I think, like a 4x. So I rode it all the way back, almost down, and was still able to make some solid profit, but, compared to a 15x, that's why I tell everybody, just be prepared for your exit, not anytime soon for Milady, but just for whenever we get into this full-blown bull market for any of your investments, right? Don't be married to your project. You gotta, you buy in, you hold. It's very hard to part ways with your projects a lot of times, but in the long run, we're here to make money. We're all here to that financial freedom that we're all seeking to get, right? And that's what it is a lot of these investments they can provide you some kind of financial freedom, whether it's just putting a nice cushion in your account, or sometimes some people make the right investments and put the right amount of money, and they have the right amount of patience to where they make out, and they're able to find out those highs, and they can sell, and they make life-changing wealth, right? I've seen it happen with crypto. I've heard the stories. We've all seen it. It definitely can happen. It's going to happen again in this next bull run. So, all right. So let's see here. So OG, let's see here. Around what months in 2004 do you think Milady is going to blow up? So that's a good question. I think it's going to I think the question should be, when do I think that we're really going to be in a solid bull run for the whole crypto market? And I think when if you guys remember, the Feds just came out this week and released that they put a pause on interest rates, right? But they not only they didn't stop there. They also included that we're probably going to have rate cuts in 2024. And I think when the rate cuts start, that's when Bitcoin's really going to start taking off. On top of, you have two other things. You have the ETF that's bound to get approved in 2024, and then we have the biggest of them all, the halving that's going to be occurring in the next few months. The halving, if history tells itself, the halving usually happens. We'll have some kind of a small little sell-off because of the halving, the whole buy the news, sell the rumor crap, however you say it. But after that, within the next 6 months to a year is usually when you're in a full-blown bull market. So I think if I was to give some kind of a time frame, I would say probably the second half of 2024 going into the first half of 2025 is when I think we're really going to be parabolic, not only for the crypto market, but for a lot of the altcoins. And hopefully Milady is going to be that number one meme coin, right? Because like I always say to everybody, for the last few streams, I've been saying, I feel like during the bull runs, it's like crypto picks like 2 or 3 meme coins that are going to really take the spotlight, right? And I think the two right now that I'm thinking, now, Bunk's been doing crazy things too. And I'm not saying anything on Bunk, but what I think the two mainstream meme coins are going to be Pepe and Milady. I think those are going to be the two meme coins that are going to be the top, basically where Doge and Shiba was. I don't think Doge and Shiba are going to go anywhere. They're always going to have a solid foundation, but I think that Milady and Pepe are going to take the spotlight on this next bull run. So, all right. So let's see here. Next Fed talk will make it blow up too. Yeah, probably, most likely, because things are looking good with inflation and how the feds are already wording how they're going to be pivoting. So it look unnatural now that I say that, but that's manipulation in crypto. Yeah, and I'm sure, Craig, are you talking about this green? Are you talking about this green candle right here? Because that definitely, I mean, it was nice to see that we made that local high. But let me show you something, guys. So if you see when we made these local highs, you can see we obviously had some cool off behind it, right? We made these local highs, we had a cool off. We made a local high right here. This was a solid green candle. This is probably one of the bigger candles, right? And then we saw a solid little sell-off, right? Honestly, if we were to map stuff out like this right here, remember when I was calling this was probably a few streams ago, so I don't even remember, but I'm sure because I have it mapped. This was a bull candle. Bull candle. A bull flag that formed, right? And it played out the way we wanted it, where it pretty much played out to where after this channel, it broke, started making its upside move, and we started making highs, right? We continued to make new highs, and then another bull flag created, and we saw this nice green candle. This was probably the second biggest green candle that we've seen, right? And look at how big this candle was. It created a bear flag, right? That was last night. Created a bear flag, and we saw this big sell-off, right? It was a 20% sell-off from the bottom of here to that 11 mark that I said was going to be a solid spot for some support. Let me just map it out real quick. Yep, it was about, so the bottom right here of this channel to the 11 was about 22%. So we had a 22% sell-off, right? But we needed that. I said that whenever those sell-offs occur, that's something natural that we need, so the sellers can be overwhelmed and we can take over as far as buyers. And that's exactly what we saw. Now, we saw such a dramatic green candle and such an enormous move from the bottom of this 11. Remember where we bottomed out at, right? To the top of this local high, 56%. A 56% move following this dramatic drop. And that made the local high. But the fact that this candle was so dramatic and so fast, now we're seeing a sell-off, right? We're seeing a sell-off. People are selling off, not like, in mass groves, but I'm sure a lot of people bought in, because think about it. For this candle to move up 50%, it had to take a lot of money for it to move, right? A lot of money. A lot of people bought in. Now, we haven't dropped back down all the way down to that 11 mark, but we have dramatically created two red candles. Now, let's see if we're possibly, let me zoom out a little bit and see if we are creating some kind of a possible a bull flag. We're gonna have to watch a couple of the next candles form, but this could, wrong thing here. This could play out for us. Let's see here, trend line. If we can say somewhere around in these channels, we might be forming again another bull flag, something like that. But we'll have to see how it goes. We'll have to map it, because we are, you'll see these candles that'll break out of the channel, but if we can bounce back into the channel and stay kind of like this, I wouldn't doubt that we probably bounce somewhere at this, I think this is the 0.5 fib right here at the 12 mark, and then we start going back up towards this local high. That would be a very bullish move right there, so we'll see. So all the get rich overnight stories got me. Now I know you got to take profits and then wait to get back in. Not really trading, but being patient. Exactly, Craig. I know you're familiar with the channel, and that's one thing that I always preach is patience. Patience. Have patience. If not only have patience when you're holding, but have patience when you're buying. That's the number one thing that I always tell everybody is patience is key. If you are sitting on the sidelines on certain projects, have patience, because you're going to get the opportunity to buy in maybe close to what you feel comfortable buying in, but it could take time. It could take a year from wherever you're at, right? Could take a year. ICP real quick. ICP, same thing with like Milady. This thing has had such a dramatic move. It created, look at this, to point out my theory. Look at this. it basically created another, and it really, I will refrain from saying this is a bull flag because it really didn't have that pull formation, but you could see that we did make a local high, and we had to have some kind of a sell-off before we could bring the buyers in, and ICP is currently sitting at around $7.27. If you guys remember in the channel, we've been screaming. I don't give out financial advice, but I was screaming. You know what this box right here indicates? This was my buy zone. This was my buy zone for ICP. And now that's what I was, I don't give out any financial advice, but I just kind of let you guys know what the plays that I'm on. I don't want you guys to mimic what I'm doing, but I want you guys to do your own research. And, maybe I can bring light to some of the stuff that maybe you don't see, or you're not looking at it the same way, right? That's one thing. I hope in the near future to team up with some other YouTubers that are kind of similar for myself. I have a couple other people in mind that are on the same level as far as like where they're at on their YouTube. And I would love to have like dual lives right now, right? And look, because not only how I look at the charts, somebody else could be looking at the charts completely different and point out things that maybe I don't see or that we don't see, right? And that's that's like the best, is that you want to get different perspectives on what these charts are telling us, because I might see it one way, someone else might see it completely different, and it's always good to get different theories and kind of do your own research and see what other people are thinking, really. So now I'm gonna take a pause real quick. Everybody, if you haven't already, you guys know what I'm about to say. Make sure you hit that like, and make sure you guys hit the subscribe if you're new to the channel. Yesterday we had 2 live streams. We mapped out all these local highs. We also mapped out the spots that we did hit as support. So if you're watching the live streams, you're already pretty much familiar with a lot of things that are going on, not only for Milady but for a lot of your favorite altcoins. So make sure you guys hit the like, and make sure you hit that subscribe so you can get those instant alerts whenever we do post a video or we're going live, right? I've been trying to stay steady, doing multiple streams a day. Obviously, right now, while the conditions are there as far as us, making new highs, even if we were on our way down, I don't care. We'll definitely come out here, and because you always want to make sure we're watching not only these new highs, but if we're, you remember 6 months ago when we were down, we were still mapping out, we're on our way down. Where are we going to find support? What's a good buy-in? Stuff like that, because you always want to set up for that next play. All right, so let's see here. Diamond hands all the way till 24.25. I agree with that. And meme combat seems interesting with the memes fighting as bots, right? I mean, you won't see them in the ring physically fighting, but they will be fighting. Doge and Shiba, Dogecoin always held the top spot for the market cap, right? Until Shiba started going so parabolic. Everybody was talking about Shiba. I remember I go to the gym every morning, right? And I go in the morning time, so it's usually not the younger crowd. I'll usually have people that are older than I am at the gym, and I never forget this guy that I talk to. He's wealthy, and he's like one of those stock market people. He's retired. He does nothing but fish and boat, every day, as long as the conditions are right. You remember, I'm down here in Florida, and he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, let me ask you a question." He's like, "My wife said I need to buy Shiba. What the hell is Shiba?" And I was just like, oh my God. Those were the red flags telling me that we were at the top and I didn't sell, right? But what I'm getting to is when Shiba started making those crazy moves, it actually dethroned Dogecoin and market cap briefly for like a solid week or two. They used to say Shiba was the Dogecoin killer, right? That's what it was. It was going after Dogecoin, and it did. It pretty much put a fight up for Doge, but eventually Doge was able to come back because Shiba, it had that crazy pump, and it did. We all know what it did, but it was very short lived, and eventually it started to come back down. Doge, did almost the same thing. Similar as far as whenever it got up to 72 cents, but it stayed solid at the time when Shiba was pumping. Doge was like around 15 or 20 cents. So it had a solid market cap that it was kind of just sitting there, staying solid. Shiba jumped up to that $40 billion, and then it quickly sold off and bounced back down. And Shiba has been holding strong somewhere around, I think it's at like $6 million. We looked at it, $6 billion, I'm sorry, as of yesterday, I believe. So, I mean, still, to be holding on to $6 billion market cap is crazy. So, I definitely see that fight happening here with Milady and Pepe, right? Let's see here. So, I asked about a penny yesterday, but what would it take to get Milady up to, what is that, 3 zeros and a 1? So, what would it take to get to drop? Because right now, Milady is sitting at, I believe, 6 zeros. So for us to drop 3 zeros, Scorpion, that would be a massive movement. I don't know the exact math on what it would be, but I would honestly probably say it would be somewhere around a 300x from where we're at right now. So 300 times where we're at right now is where it would be if it dropped 3 zeros. Now, if you put that into a market cap perspective, 300 times 100 million would be somewhere, I don't know exactly, but I want to say it would probably be somewhere around like hundreds of billions of dollars in market cap, right? It would be hundreds of billions of dollars in market cap. So I think it would be like around $300 billion in the market cap. That is pretty much the equivalent of where Ethereum is as of right now. Bitcoin is somewhere around like 800 billion. That would make Milady one of the biggest, not only meme coins, but it would be like number 2, number 3 in market cap. So I'm not saying that it can't happen, but what I'm saying is it's that it would be very hard. It would be a lot of money coming into Milady. I don't think that $300 billion market cap is realistic. I think that, like I've said before, a conservative market cap would be somewhere around maybe $2 to $8 billion is what I think. And $2 to $8 billion would be like an 80x from where we're at. And you're talking probably dropping another 0, if not dropping maybe 2 zeros from where we're at right now. So, I mean, still, that would be a solid move. Now, we were talking about this last night, and that's why we always bring up like Shiba and Doge. If Milady can get on the Shiba kind of move, where Shiba at the time, its all-time high made it up to $40 billion. That means Milady, if it went up to $40 billion, now you're talking about a 200x from where it's at right now, somewhere around there. Don't quote me on the math, but somewhere around there, 200x. Now you're talking about dropping solid 2, maybe getting close to that third 0 getting dropped. So, it can happen, right? It can happen, but everything would have to play out perfect. Shiba played out perfect because this was during a bull run. The hype got behind Shiba, and I'm telling you one thing is if the hype gets behind these meme coins, the money flows right behind it and it goes insane. Oh, excuse me, I just sneezed. Bless me. So definitely, I'm not saying that it's not out of the realm. It's just it would have to be like a perfect storm for it to really to get to where Shiba, once was. So, all right. So let's see here. Just hold on. I'm coming home. Is that Drake? Just hold on. I'm coming home. All right. So let's see here. So I'm reading what Craig was telling Scorpion, it'll never get to 3 zeros and a 1, but it doesn't have to make life-changing money. I kind of understand what you're saying, Craig. So, I think what you're saying is it doesn't even have to get there to that 3 zeros and a 1 for it to still be life-changing money, right? I think you guys have to really comprehend what an 80x, what an 80x is, Think about it. If you put $1,000 into Milady, right, and it goes 80x from where it's at right now, that's $80,000 that you would have, including your $1,000 profit. $80,000. Imagine, if you put in $10,000, 10,000 times 80 would be $800,000. So I think a lot of people need to comprehend how much really like an 80x is, how much a 10x is. Even if Milady goes right now and shoots up, in the next few months and it goes up 10x, If you have $1,000, that's $10,000. If you have $10,000, that's going to be $100,000. If you just put $100 in, that's $1,000, right? I mean, that's a 10x. So imagine an 80x. I don't know about you, but if you picked up a quick 80 grand, I mean, you're not going to be filthy rich, but that could set you up to where, you can make some good moves and continue your investments and, and maybe get up to $1 million. That's what a lot of, I've always followed certain people and I've listened to their stories, and that's what they did. They would make 10 grand and then make another move, and then they would turn that 10 into 15 and then make another move and turn that 15 into 18, and it was a process like that. And I'm sure in between there was some ups and downs, but they just kept growing their investment, and until it was up to millions of dollars, right? And that's what it's all about. That's why I keep telling you guys, just have a game plan. You always have a game plan, of what your plan is as far as with all your investments. And, you want to make sure, whenever let's say you make some good profits, figure out what your next move is. As far as, how are you going to double that profit that you just made, right? You always want to double, triple, that's the game plan right there. That's how, wealthy people on an average, I read this study, and people that are millionaires and billionaires, they don't have just one stream of income. You guys guess how many streams of income do wealthy people have? Wealthy people. I'm going to give it out. 6 on average. 6 revenues of bringing in income. Not just one, not just a job, or not just, just one thing. They have 6 different avenues that are bringing them profit. And that's how they become wealthy, right? And that's what it is that at the end of the day, you're making money on crypto. What else can you do to make money on, or where can you move these profits over to, or if it's strictly crypto, maybe diversifying, and putting it into different projects. I'm always a big believer in diversifying your portfolio, and having some secure investments like Bitcoin or Ethereum, or maybe the bigger players. And then, also allocate money into the smaller players. And I always would have a fraction of money for the very micro cap projects that are very risky, but could bring the most return back, right? And this is what brings me to Milady. You guys remember when 7 months ago, we're mapping Milady. I keep this arrow there because that's where I bought in. Now, you guys know the story. I don't even want to talk about it. But I sold out on this pump right here. And for whatever reason, I was never able to catch back in. And, it is what it is, right? I'm not going to be a hater just because I'm not making all these gains. Because I'm making gains elsewhere. Because remember, I'm having a diversify portfolio. I'm going to put the brakes on it real quick. And I'm going to jump over to ICP, which is one of my investments. ICP just made a new local high of $7.42, guys. $7.42. This is looking great for ICP. It looks awesome. ICP is going to be one of those big players. I'm telling you, everybody hates on ICP because of how it launched and everything like that. But the fundamentals behind ICP, you want to talk about a project that really has a lot of stuff going for it. ICP is one of those big projects. They have a lot of stuff going for them. Just every day developing new things. Big ecosystem. But, what I was saying about Milady is, obviously I sold down here. I regret it. I really do, because the gains that I could have gotten just from here are more than what I repositioned myself for. But at the end of the day, that's what I do is I like to reposition myself, and I've taught myself not to get married to particular projects. Now, again, like I said, there's always those projects that you want to hold on to long term, because they're going to continue always to build wealth, like Bitcoin and stuff like that. But some of the projects that are the smaller market caps, they're going to explode, and they're going to give you that opportunity for that 100x. And that's when you're in that opportunity, you need to capitalize on it so you can allocate and move on into different investments. So you remember we were mapping Milady back when it was down here, And let's see, I looked at it before, I think it was yesterday. You guys want to hear something? So where I bought in on Milady, it was at the 19 down here, but we're going to do it at this line at the 21. From its local high, I would have been up 713%. 713%. And remember, the reason why Milady to me was such a big thing at the time, and I was just basically, I started the content on, covering Milady heavy because I was trying to not give out financial advice, but just say Milady's market cap is so low. Most of the coins are in circulation. This project, all it needs is hype, and this thing has the potential to really, do some big things and make some big moves, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. That's exactly what we're seeing here for Milady, and I think it's just the beginning, honestly. I think it's just the beginning. The hype is starting to set in for Milady, and I think as time goes on, remember last night for the stream, we were talking about what if like Coinbase adds Milady onto their exchange. That would be very, very bullish because it would bring in a lot of investors that possibly don't even know about Milady, or they don't have the access to buy in as of right now. So so let's catch up here. So let's see here. So I see a lot of price predictions. People were saying I'm selling at, what is that, 3 zeros, Jamie? 1, 2, 3 zeros. Yeah, I mean that would if we get up to that spot, I'm sure you'd be a very wealthy person, right? You would be very wealthy if you were able to hold up, and we get to that spot. You know how hard it is? Imagine if like, let's say just imagine this, your portfolio, let's say you put in $500, right? $500. You bought Milady when it was on the bottom, and you put in $500, and you set a goal, right? Like Jamie in the chat, he sets a goal, and it's like a 300x, right? But let's say that $500 is up. It's not at 300x, but now that $500 is up to $20,000. Do you know how hard it's going to be for you not to sell at that spot? Because you're going to be looking at an investment that you put in at $500, and now you're up $20,000. Like, do you comprehend how hard it is to not sell at that point? That's why I'm like, make sure you guys have realistic goals, because I'm telling you, even if you get to like a quarter of what your goals are, and you see that your portfolio is just like overflowing, with profits, it's hard. It's hard to really hold on and really tell yourself, well, I'm gonna put us. I'm not even gonna look at that I'm up 10 or 15 grand right now, and I'm just gonna keep holding, right? Because then it starts to set in. Well, what if there's a big sell-off? Right? What if there's a big sell? And it's hard. It's a mental battle that only you are going to go through, right? And I don't mean only you. We're all going to go through it at some point. But it's like, it's a mental battle that you're going to be fighting in your head as far as where you're going to actually be able to hit that sell button and sell. So, but I'm here to say, whenever you're in that situation, it's a great situation to be in. It's a great situation to be in. And one thing I always tell everybody around me is, don't kick yourself if you sell and you made profit and it did continue to move up, somewhat, because at the end of the day, you made profit. Now, I understand hindsight's 20/20, and you look back and you're like, well, I would have made an extra 30% if I would have held on. Of course, right? But at the end of the day, you need to understand that you did what you came here to do, and that was to make profit. So that's what it is. You got to just take it easy on yourself, right? Take it easy on yourself. All right, so let's see. Let's catch up here. Oh, yeah, so easy because Shiba doesn't even have half the supply of Milady, and that is true, Jamie. I don't know exactly what Shiba's circulating supply is. So right now, Milady's circulating supply is sitting at around 734 trillion coins, right? Let's look at what Shiba's circulating supply is. So actually, Shiba's circulating supply is around the same. It's sitting at around the same, at around 600 trillion. So let me make sure I read this right. So 100,000 million billion trillion, right? Now let me see. Let's go back to Milady. I might have counted Milady incorrect. 100,000 million billion trillion. Yeah. So it looks like Milady has a little bit more, like about 140 trillion more in circulating supply. So, but I mean, remember, we're comparing a market cap of $100 million versus, Shiba right now is sitting at around, I think it's like either $4 to $6 billion. Yeah, sitting at around $5.7 billion, right? So I think as Milady particularly starts really continuing to build some momentum, I think we're going to start taking away from some of these other big player meme coins. I think a lot of people are going to be selling their position on and I don't think it's going to crash Shiba or Doge, but I think that they're going to be selling their position on these bigger players and moving it over to like Milady that has all the hype and has all the ingredients to do what Shiba already did, right? Couple of things I want to check out. Let's see, has anybody looked at Pepe recently? Has anybody looked at Pepe and seen what is Pepe up to? I have not checked Pepe in a while. You can see I don't even have a fib retracement. So let's look at what Pepe's doing here. Draw a slight fib retracement here. So a couple things that I'm going to point out for Pepe is it just formed, just like Pepe came out. Oh man, Pepe came out like literally the same like week or two of Milady. I'm telling you, it's gonna be Milady and Pepe, and they are gonna be like you guys said, it's gonna be like a Mortal Kombat battle. They're gonna be sitting there just fighting, right? We're gonna form gangs where we're gonna be out in the streets and we're gonna be like, what are you holding, Pepe or Milady? Right? So for Pepe, this just formed a 200-day moving average back in November, pretty much the same exact time that Milady did, and you can see it did have a nice little move above the 200-day, and it has had some significant moves, but it doesn't look as bullish as Milady. Honestly, it doesn't look as bullish as Milady. We'll bounce back. This is the Milady chart around the same time frame, and you can see above the 200-day, which is right here, to where we're currently at. We're up 289%. If you look at where Pepe is above its 200-day from where it currently is at, it's up only 22%. So take that with a grain of salt. Now Pepe's a little different. Now their market cap, since they did have such a crazy run, they've already had their massive run, right? I'm not saying that they're not going to have another one, but Pepe's a little different because they're already at a $600 million market cap, right? They're already at a $600 market cap. So, you can see the volume. You look at the volume for Pepe, it's at $120 million, right? Let's look at the volume for Milady. So Pepe's at $120 million, right? And it's kind of sitting where it's at. Milady's only has a volume, a 24-hour volume of around $35 million. So think about that. We only have a fraction of the volume that's coming into Milady right now. Our market cap is 20% less. It's actually less than that. It's like around 18% of what Pepe's currently at right now. And Pepe's really not crazy up. So even if you're thinking about right now, is Milady a good buy? Obviously, I'm not going to give out financial advice, but looking at just comparing those two, I would say that Milady has more potential and seeing a massive pump whenever we continue into this bull market, right? I think Milady has the potential. If you're going to pick the two, which one's going to is going to do the best in a bull market? I mean, any one of them, because hype could go behind Pepe out of nowhere, right? And Pepe could be going crazy again. But if they both had the same amount of hype, Milady would be the top runner because of the fact that it has a smaller market cap. It has only 18% market cap compared to where Pepe's at. So this thing has a potential to do, on the same amount of money coming in, the same kind of hype, it could do 5 times better than what Pepe could do. So keep that in mind. Now, I do want to jump back onto the charts. You can see we are still continuing into this channel, right? We saw so what I was calling towards the beginning of the stream was that we could be forming some kind of a small bull flag, right? A small bull flag where we have the pole, and then we have this downward channel forming, right? And we could see possibly, if we were to move down, and this is if the channel comes down towards maybe where we have this support at around the 12.9, we could see some kind of a movement like this where we bounce at that 12.9 and we do make a new local high somewhere right at or right below that 18 mark, right? Now remember, guys, this blue line right here, I saw, and you guys can correct me, but on TradingView, this is where the all-time high is at around 19.5. We're not far from meeting that new meeting that all-time high and exceeding that all-time high. From where we're at right now, I would just guess, and I'm going to pull up the numbers, but I'd say we're probably 20 to 30% away. All right, we're 40% away currently where we sit at exactly. 40% away from the all-time high from what TradingView is giving me. I saw a couple people yesterday's stream after the fact. They came in and they were saying that the numbers were a little different as far as what they're seeing for an all-time high, which I completely agree. It could be. All these different these trading platforms, the other day when Bitcoin moved on TradingView, it was at 44,900, but a couple exchanges put out that Bitcoin did tap 45,000, right? So they're somewhat in the same ballpark, but some of them will have different numbers, different outcomes. So we'll see. All right, so father-daughter duel. I had put 30K into SafeMoon back in 2021. In October the same year, it went up to 1.3 million. Got so excited and thought I would kept it going. And in January 22, it was down to 40K. Now it's at 6K. Father, I understand. I think we all either have a story similar, maybe not with those massive numbers like going up to $1 million, but we all have a story similar. And if you haven't had a story yet, I'm sure you're going to, because one thing that, and I'm sure you're going to agree with me, is one thing is that you learn from going through something like that, right? You learn. And that's why it goes back to what I always say in the channel. Do not get married to your project. Do not get married to your project, because eventually there's going to be a time where you're going to need to hit that sell button. And it's hard. It's very hard. Trust me. I've been there and done it for a lot of these projects that I held so dearly on for so long. And when I was up, a considerable amount, when I was sitting there looking at $20,000 profit, and just all I had to do was hit that sell button, and it was hard. It really was, because you're thinking that FOMO kicks in of, well, what if this thing's about to go up another, 2x, and I'm at 20,000, this thing could be $40,000, and that FOMO sets in, and you don't want to hit the sell button. But it leads me back to what I was saying before, just like 10 minutes ago. We're all in this to make money. And hindsight's 2020. I'm sure father would go back. Father-daughter duo, he'll go back. He would say, he would maybe do things differently, right? He would do things differently. But we don't have that luxury of going back in time and making those changes. So, we learn from these these situations that we've gone through, right? We learn from them and try to not repeat them. And I think that's just just life in general, right? You gotta learn from some of the situations that you've been in. So, all right, so let's see here. So, and they just filed for bankruptcy. Was scamming. Imagine how I feel right now. I don't want to talk bad on any project, but particularly SafeMoon. They've had it wasn't a good rap sheet with that project whatsoever. It really wasn't. And it sucks because they had a lot of people really pushing SafeMoon. I think if they wouldn't have been if there would have been better people involved in the project, that project probably was destined to do a lot better, and not just maybe do a quick spike and then, drop down so considerably. Probably would have been a big player and probably would have been added on to a lot of platforms at this day and time, right? Because Safe Moon's been around for a while. Like you said, before that last bull run, people were screaming all about Safe Moon, right? So it's all right, brother. If you did it once, I'm sure you can do it again. So I have faith in you. All right, so let's see here. So pump started again, Edge. We'll see. We did form a green candle. We're sitting currently at around that 13.7. I'm really just watching this channel that we're in, right? I'm just watching, making sure we respect those lines. And I think if it plays out, we might see some kind of a movement up if this bull flag does play out. Now, they don't do it every time. It could easily just do whatever it wants to do, obviously, but a lot of times these are patterns that we look out for that usually can be a bullish pattern. So we'll see how it is. So never bought Pepe, never will. So Jamie, we see Jamie's a diehard Milady. Hey, I encourage, I don't give out financial advice, but I encourage diversification, right? So if you can make money on both of them, why not, right? So let's see here. Edge says I'm 10x on Milady. Nice. Awesome. All right. Let's see here. So Scorpion, profit is profit. Cash in the rubber band. As long as you made something, it is a W, right? W in the chats. W in the chat. All those live streamers are always like, W in the chat, right? Should I do this? Should I go over there and do this? W in the chat. I should do that. Do like a IRL of just crypto, right? Just like me walking around all day. Like, I'll do that. Listen, if I make millions, I'm gonna do an IRL crypto channel where it's just like I'm loaded, and I'm gonna just go out to dinner every day and lunch, and you know what I'm saying, and do all kinds of. My goal is to really get to be wealthy, and I'm a big animal person. I have a dog, and I want to rescue and help the rescue dogs at the Humane Society. That's like my goal. I want to help out. I feel terrible, especially since the pandemic. A lot of people are going through hardships, and the first thing that they were giving up is their pet. And a lot of these dogs are going, and not just dogs but cats, but particularly dogs are going back to the Humane Society, and they're already like 4 or 5 years old. And a lot of times when people go to they go to get a dog, they want a puppy, right? So you have these dogs that are midlife, some of them even older, and they're having to live in the Humane Society in a cage, and I feel terrible. So my goal is to be wealthy, and I'm not going to stop until I am, and I help all those dogs that are in the Humane Society and elsewhere, and maybe even the kill shelters and stuff like that, and be able to provide them a home. I want to get like a big property and do something like like what a lot of I've seen other people on on videos and stuff like that, where they have big properties and they just basically help out all the dogs that don't get adopted. I want to do that and maybe help them find homes, but if not, just provide them a good home, because that's the worst. Us humans, you see there's people breeding animals and stuff like that, and they're pumping out dogs to make profit, and a lot of those dogs end up back in the Humane Society, and eventually they don't have space, so we all know what they have to do, and it's just it stinks, right? It stinks. So all right, so back, we're gonna see here. So yeah, so Pepe, I don't think Pepe right now, we're probably still in the hype from Pepe. That's what's going on, right? We're still in the hype from Pepe. That's exactly what's going on. Pepe is, I still say Pepe's bullish because it's above its 200-day for sure. But you can see the charts. You can see the charts compared to what Milady's doing. And, it's a completely different chart here, right? It's a completely different chart than what we see for Pepe. Let's go back to Bitcoin and see what is the Godfather doing here. What's the Godfather doing? So you can see, I have this this channel drawn, but we did break that channel. See what I'm saying? So it doesn't always play out. It doesn't always play out, but we could easily come back and jump right back into this channel like we did. You see this red candle, we eventually jump right back into the channel, and that we've been kind of just moving in between, the top of the channel and the bottom of the channel. Bitcoin right now is currently sitting at around 41,800. It's been holding solid. Today's one of those days where it's just sitting, it's not really doing too much. We had a downward movement. The rest of the market, looking at like the stock market and stuff like that, everything's kind of, not really doing much. It's really just sitting in the same spot. The DXY, I haven't really been talking about the DXY, but the DXY has been on its way down. It did have a nice little pump today, though, up to 50 cents, and I wonder if that contributes to why Bitcoin's kind of doing down, or Bitcoin's kind of down. DXY, we all know if the DXY is going up, a lot of times your investments will be coming down. Like your your investments like Bitcoin in the stock market, stuff like that, gold, stuff like that will be coming down. It kind of has an inverse effect as far as what the DXY is doing. DXY starts coming down, a lot of these projects will not, just because the DXY is moving down, it'll move up, but a lot of times that's just how it works. You'll see DXY is having a rough day, Bitcoin will be having a blessed day, right? So it's how it works. It's an inverse pattern. Oil's been kind of sitting stagnant around $70. It did drop down to 66 the other day. So you can notice oil's been kind of it's been roughly down compared to those highs that we were making at $100 a barrel. Now we're at 71. So oil's been kind of just, I think it's just going to stay flat for a while. Gold's been kind of flat. Gold and silver really have been flat. I think Bitcoin's really taken a lot of investors from gold, and people are buying into Bitcoin because there's just a lot more movement and a lot more potential for Bitcoin long term than gold. I think your gold people are going to be more of your older traditional stock holders. They'll buy into gold, but I think that time for gold is going to start fading away. As far as if you want to buy into something and hold on to some kind of a commodity, I think it's going to be Bitcoin is going to be the future for that. And I know that Bitcoin eventually will outtake gold in market cap. Gold's market cap is around $10 trillion. So I'm predicting that could happen probably in the next bull run, or if not, the following bull run. We could probably see Bitcoin getting to around $10 trillion. Now let's see here. Just got into Milady. I personally moved meme coins, hoping my second chance is with this one. Father, like we've been saying, Milady, we've been mapping out Milady for the last 7 months, and one thing I've been saying is it's a long-term investment, and I say long-term as in we're even if it's, let's say we make a high in the next like 6 to 8 months. From where we've come, that would be a massive move, and things that go with Milady. The reason why I think Milady is going to be a top contender is, like I keep saying, the market cap alone for Milady is so small. We're sitting at around $100 million. When we first started mapping Milady, and on the channel, the market cap was around $15 to $20 million. And that's when I was like, this thing is going to blow, just because of the near fact that the market cap was so micro small, right? And it was also, Milady at the time had just got released on the bigger platforms like KuCoin, Crypto.com, stuff like that. I was saying, for a project to have that small of a market cap and have the exposure that Milady has, it has the potential to really do some big things. And we're starting to reap those benefits, but I don't think that we're even halfway into it. I think that, eventually, as I keep saying, Bitcoin starts making its way up towards $60,000, the altcoins are going to go crazy. Altcoins are going to be going crazier than they already are, but you're going to have something like Milady that has all the ingredients to really do something big. It's going to get the money, the volume that we're looking for, and the exposure. And I think that this thing is really going to do some big things in this next bull market. So to answer, or not even that you'd ask a question, but to say, I think you are still relatively early in this project, right? So let's see here. Craig, I'm not very diversified. Well, let's see. Milady, H-Bar, Jasmine, Casba, and Dag. I mean, dude, you hold on to what, like 5 or 6 different projects. I mean, that's, to me, that's you're diversified, right? Milady as a meme coin. H bar is a bigger project. I know they're in the billions. Jasmine's a bigger project. Caspa's a relatively big project. I don't know anything about DAG, but from what I'm looking at, as far as that portfolio, it looks like you've kind of hit all spectrums as far as like small, mid, and big market caps. So having a higher risk, a medium risk, and having more secure investments. That's what it's all about. Moonbound, Dogelon to the moon. Let's check out what Dogelon is doing. You guys know, if you're not new to the channel, we do cover Dogelon as well. As I am doing this, make sure you guys pause. Make sure you hit that like so we can send the algorithm to anybody that is right now searching up meme coins. We could bring it to their attention, let them know as far as Milady, and all our other projects, as far as just bringing them into the space, because that's what we need. We need more exposure. Dogelon. I'm sorry, Dog Elon. I keep saying Dogelon. I'm sorry, Dog Elon. I got corrected so many times already. People were in the comments were like, bro, it's not Dogelon, it's Dog Elon. Remember, I come from the Dogecoin era. So when I see that DOGE, I'm always like Dogelon, but it's Dog Elon. So one thing, this chart looks almost identical to what Pepe was looking like, where it looks bullish. It's bounced off of the 200-day, and it is moving. It hasn't had that explosion yet, right? It hasn't had the explosion move yet. And I honestly think, and I'm just throwing this out there, but I think Milady is stealing the thunder from pretty much all the altcoins right now. Dare I say that Milady's bringing in a lot of new investors and existing investors that are in that meme coin realm. And I think a lot of people are maybe holding on to other projects, but they're buying in and bringing the volume into Milady is what I think. But to go back to Dog Elon, definitely looks bullish as long as it's above this 200-day like it is, and it bounced clean off that 200-day. You can see bounce right here at this resistance line that I have at the 21. Now we have moved a little bit down, but we are staying secure at the 0.5. And I did come up with a video, I think it was like maybe a few days ago on Dog Elon, and it's literally at the same exact spot where the video was, if I'm not mistaken. So that just means that right now Dog Elon, and I said this in the video now that I'm thinking about it, Dog Elon's going to be, it's going to make big moves, but I think right now it doesn't have the it's not in the spotlight right now. It doesn't have the hype behind it. Right now I think a lot of hype is behind something like Milady. It's a new player in the game, and it's been making these serious gains, and people are talking about it. But do I think that Dog Elon's going to do something big in this next bull run? Of course, because Dog Elon's market cap is relatively small. I think Dog Elon, its market cap is somewhere around where Milady is now. Let's look it up. Yeah, $105 million. It's literally exactly like, it's almost exactly the same amount of what we have as far as market cap for Milady. Let's see. 100,000. Now the circulating supply is it's a little bit more. It's at a 1 quadrillion, which is double. I think that's double what Milady has, if I'm not mistaken, or it's definitely more than what Milady has. But regardless, okay, so it's Milady has around 300 trillion less, than what Dog Elon has as far as circulating supply. But that doesn't mean that because we're really looking at the market cap, and the market cap's very small, just like Milady. So same thing. If something could get behind Milady, behind Dog Elon as far as some hype volume, that thing has a potential to explode as well. All right, Scorpion. I don't know if you're still here, but I appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much. Bonk. Let's check out Bonk real quick. That is a very popular project that everybody seems to want to talk about. So Bonk, couple things with Bonk. Obviously, it had this high right here at the 35. I will say, same thing with Bonk. We'll see if this plays out, and you can maybe next stream we'll leave this here and see how it plays out. But it looks like it's creating a nice little bull flag. So we'll see how it goes. The 200 day all the way down here, Bonk. If you were to map out from the 200 day to where it's currently sitting, it's sickening. It is honestly sickening. 2,900% it's up. Get this chart out of here. This is sickening, right? That is craziness. People are freaking making out like bandits on Bonk. That's awesome. We'll see how it plays out, because this thing could be easily going on for another leg up. If we were to map out that pole from where it was, we'll say about right here, this green line, you could see easily if we straighten this out. Now, I don't say it's going to play out exactly like this. It could, but we could be looking at a new local high, or if this is an all-time high, I don't know, but we could be looking at around 37 that it could be making, as far as if it plays out this bull flag. So we'll definitely check it out on the next stream and see how it goes. So Milady, real quick, we are going to be ending the stream soon. I appreciate everybody coming in, but real quick, before you leave, make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe, but real quick, hold on, don't leave yet. Let's see. So Milady has jumped right back into that channel. We formed a green candle again. We're at the 14.5. Today, I want you guys to just monitor. Obviously, we'll watch and see what's going on. We want to sit here and stay on this channel, and hopefully this bull flag will play out, and we can make a new local high somewhere around that 18 mark, and we'll be staring down this the all-time high of around 19.3. So that's what we're going to watch. If we are going to have any kind of support, this 0.5 at the 12 is going to be a solid support. That's what we're going to want to hold. Obviously, the 11, as of last night when we did drop down, that was our solid spot for support, but we want to make a higher support. So 12 would be the ideal spot if we are going to come down at all to find some support before the buyers take over and us make a new local high. It's going to be the 12 mark. So keep an eye on that. Other than that, guys, make sure you hit the subscribe. I've already came out yesterday. We had 2 live on Milady, and we literally mapped out everything almost precisely of what we've been seeing. So make sure you hit that subscribe so you guys can stay up to date on what's going on. I'll have another live coming out a little bit later on. We'll do an evening's live stream, because the last night was very good. I really enjoyed being with all you guys. Make sure you hit that like too, so we can send it out to the algorithm for everybody that's searching up meme coins. We can bring them into the space. Other than that, guys, I thank you guys so much. I really do. Any questions that we have, I will cover it on the next live stream, okay? If I did miss any of your questions. All right.